the conference room doors burst open. Mary stepped inside, her heels clicking against the marble floor. Behind her, a small hand gripped hers tightly. The girl couldn't have been more than 10 years old, her dark curls bouncing as she walked. But it wasn't her presence that made every head turn. It was her face. Jiho froze mid-sentence, his engagement announcement dying on his lips. The champagne glass in his fiancée's hand trembled. His mother's smile cracked like porcelain. Because the child standing in the doorway looked exactly like him. Same sharp jawline. Same intense eyes. Same distinctive birthmark near her left temple. "Hello, Jiho," Mary said, her voice steady despite the chaos erupting around them. "It's been 11 years. I thought it was time you met your daughter." The girl stepped forward, her chin lifted with quiet defiance. "I'm Hana," she announced to the room full of stunned executives and family members. "And I'm here to meet my father." If you're loving this already, hit that subscribe button because this story is about to get wild. Drop a comment telling me what you think Jiho should do. Now, let's continue. The room exploded into whispers. Cameras flashed. Jiho's fiancée, Minji, grabbed his arm, her perfectly manicured nails digging into his designer suit. "Jiho, what is this? Who are these people?" Jiho couldn't speak. He stared at the child, his mind racing backward through time. 11 years. California. Mary's smile in the morning light. The way she'd said goodbye at the airport, tears streaming down her face, whispering words he'd thought were just emotional dramatics. "I'm pregnant, Jiho. Please don't leave me." He'd left anyway. His mother had been insistent. The family business needed him. Mary was a distraction, a phase, an American mistake that would ruin everything they'd built. Now that mistake stood before him, wearing his face. "Security," his mother shrieked, her voice cutting through the murmurs. Mrs. Kong rose from her seat like a vengeful goddess, her silk hanbok swishing with righteous fury. "Remove these people immediately." "Don't touch us," Mary warned as two security guards approached. Her voice carried a strength Jiho didn't remember. She wasn't the soft-spoken girl he'd known. Life had sharpened her edges. "Unless you want this to become an even bigger scene. Because trust me, I have receipts. And lawyers. And every major news outlet on speed dial." Jiho finally found his voice. "Wait." He held up a hand, stopping the guards. His heart hammered against his ribs. "Everyone out. Now. Except Mary and the child." "Hana," the girl corrected, her voice small but firm. "My name is Hana." "Jiho, you cannot be serious," Minji hissed. "Our engagement." "Out!" The force in his voice surprised even himself. The room cleared in a flurry of confused protests and excited whispers. He could already imagine the headlines, the stock market reaction, the board meeting that would inevitably follow. But none of that mattered when he looked at Hana. His mother refused to leave, planting herself beside him like a guardian demon. "Whatever lies this woman has told you." "Lies." Mary's laugh was bitter. "The only lies told were the ones you fed your son. Tell him, Mrs. Kong. Tell him what you did." Jiho looked between them, confusion mixing with a growing dread. "Mother." Mrs. Kang's face hardened. "I did what was necessary to protect our family. This woman wanted to trap you with a pregnancy claim. I offered her money to disappear. She took it. End of story. I took it because I was 23, pregnant, and alone in a foreign country." Mary's voice cracked. "You threatened me. You said if I ever contacted Jiho again, you'd destroy my visa status, have me deported, and make sure I never saw him again. What choice did I have?" Jiho felt the ground shift beneath him. "You offered her money?" "A considerable sum," his mother said without shame, which she accepted readily enough. "So you see, this sudden appearance is nothing but—" "I used every dollar to survive," Mary interrupted. "To give birth alone. To raise our daughter. I tried calling you, Jiho. Hundreds of times those first 2 years. Every number went straight to voicemail or was disconnected. I never received any calls from you. Because I made sure of it," Mrs. Kong snapped. "You had a destiny, Jiho. A company to inherit. A proper marriage to arrange. She was nothing but a foreign distraction who would have ruined everything. The casual cruelty in her voice made Jiho's stomach turn. He looked at Mary, really looked at her, and saw the truth written in every tired line around her eyes. She'd been telling the truth all along. "Why now?" he asked quietly. "Why come back after 11 years?" Mary glanced down at Hana, whose small hand still gripped hers. "Because she asked me to. She's been asking about you since she could talk. I told her stories, showed her pictures, tried to make you real for her. And last year, she started writing to you." Jiho frowned. "I never received any letters." "Emails," Hana spoke up, her voice trembling slightly. "I sent you emails. Lots of them. Every week for 8 months. I told you about school, about my dance recitals, about how Mom works 2 jobs to keep us going. I asked if you remembered us. If you ever thought about me." Something cold slithered down Jiho's spine. "I never saw any emails." Hana reached into her small backpack and pulled out a tablet. With shaking fingers, she navigated to an email account and turned the screen toward him. The sent folder showed dozens of messages, all addressed to his personal company email. The one only family had access to. The one his mother managed. "You deleted them," Jiho said slowly, his voice deadly quiet. He turned to his mother. "You deleted emails from my daughter." "She is not your daughter until proven otherwise," Mrs. Kang retorted. "This could all be an elaborate scheme." "Does she look like a scheme to you?" Jiho gestured at Hana, whose eyes were filling with tears. The resemblance was undeniable, unmistakable. She had his mother's eyes too, the same shape if not the same coldness. "She's mine. Anyone with eyes can see that. DNA tests can be arranged." "We brought one," Mary said, pulling an envelope from her purse. "Done 3 months ago at an accredited lab in California. Hannah's DNA matched to yours from a sample we obtained from your publicized blood donation event last year. 99.9% probability of paternity." She threw the envelope on the table. It landed with a soft thud that echoed like thunder. Jiho picked it up with numb fingers. The official letterhead swam before his eyes. Laboratory certified results. Charts and numbers that confirmed what his heart already knew. He had a daughter. He'd had a daughter for 10 years and never knew. "I need to speak with Mary and Hana alone," he said, his voice hollow. "Mother, leave." "Jiho, leave." The shout erupted from somewhere deep inside him, a place where rage and grief tangled together. "You've done enough. More than enough. Get out before I say something we'll both regret." Mrs. Kang's face went white, then red. For a moment, he thought she might refuse. But something in his expression must have warned her. She gathered her hanbok with stiff dignity and swept from the room, leaving a chill in her wake. The silence that followed felt suffocating. Jiho slowly lowered himself into a chair, unable to trust his legs. He looked at Hana, this small person who carried half his DNA, and felt a loss so profound it threatened to swallow him whole. "I didn't know," he whispered. "Hana, I swear to you, I didn't know you existed. If I had, would you have come?" Hana's voice was so quiet he almost missed it. "If you'd known about me, would you have stayed?" The question gutted him, because he didn't know the answer. 11 years ago, he'd been different. Weaker. More concerned with duty and obligation than with love. He'd chosen the company over Mary without a second thought. Would a pregnancy have changed that? Or would he have done exactly what his mother suggested, throwing money at the problem until it disappeared? "I want to say yes," he admitted. "But I don't know if I can promise that the man I was then would have made the right choice. I was a coward, Hana. I let my mother control my life. I walked away from your mother without fighting for her. And you paid the price for my weakness." Tears spilled down Hana's cheeks. Mary knelt beside her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders, but the girl shook her head and stepped forward. She walked right up to Jiho, studying his face with an intensity that reminded him of looking in a mirror. "Mom says you're a good person who made bad choices," Hana said. "She says people can change. Is that true? Can you change?" The hope in her eyes nearly broke him. This brave little girl who'd reached out to a father who'd never written back, who'd traveled across an ocean to meet a man who might reject her. "I can try," Jiho said, his voice rough with emotion. "I want to try, Hana. If you'll let me." The conference room door slammed open. Minji stood there, her face a mask of betrayed fury. Behind her, Jiho could see his mother and several board members crowding the hallway. "You're really going to acknowledge her?" Minji demanded. "Jiho, think about what you're doing. Your reputation, the company's stock, our wedding." "There's not going to be a wedding." Minji's mouth fell open. "What?" "I can't marry you, Minji. Not when I have a daughter I need to get to know. Not when I've just discovered my entire family has been lying to me for over a decade." He stood, moving instinctively to place himself between her and Hana. "I'm sorry. I know this isn't what you signed up for." "You're damn right it's not." Minji's voice rose to a shriek. "I'm supposed to be your wife, the mother of your children. Not playing stepmother to some American mistake. Don't call her that." The coldness in Jiho's voice could have frozen fire. "She's not a mistake. She's my daughter. And if you can't respect that, then we have nothing more to discuss." Minji's face contorted with rage and humiliation. She looked at Mary with pure hatred. "You've ruined everything. I hope you're satisfied." "This isn't about satisfaction," Mary replied calmly. "This is about a girl who deserves to know her father. Whatever happens between you and Jiho is between you two. We're just here for Hana." "I'll sue," Minji threatened. "Breach of promise, emotional damages, loss of social standing. Sue away." Jiho's tone was flat. "My lawyers are better than yours." Minji stared at him for a long moment, searching for any sign of the man she'd thought she knew. When she found none, she turned on her heel and stormed out, nearly colliding with his mother in her haste to leave. Mrs. Kang stepped into the doorway, her expression calculating. "If you acknowledge this child publicly, the board will demand your resignation. The scandal will tank our stock price. Everything your grandfather built will be jeopardized. Then let it fall." Jiho's voice rang with conviction. "I've spent my entire life building a company, cultivating an image, doing what was expected of me. And what do I have to show for it? A corner office and no soul. I won't make the same mistake twice." He walked over to Hana and knelt down to her level. Up close, he could see Mary's influence too. The shape of her nose, the curve of her smile. She was a perfect blend of them both. "Hana, I know I have no right to ask this, but would you be willing to give me a chance? To let me try being your father?" Hana looked at her mother. Mary nodded, tears streaming down her face. The girl threw her arms around Jiho's neck. The embrace nearly knocked him over. He wrapped his arms around the small, fierce person and felt something crack open inside his chest. All the walls he'd built, all the defenses he'd maintained, crumbled under the weight of her trust. "I have so many questions," Hana mumbled against his shoulder. "About Korea and your family and why you like kimchi so much in your interviews." Jiho laughed, the sound breaking through tears he didn't realize he was crying. "I'll answer every single one. I promise." Mrs. Kang made a disgusted sound. "You're making a mistake, Jiho. When this blows up in your face, and it will, don't come crying to me." "I won't," he said simply, not even looking at her. "I think it's time we reevaluated our relationship, Mother. Starting with you stepping back from any involvement in my personal life. I am the chairwoman of, and I am the CEO with controlling shares. Test me on this and see what happens." The steel in his voice was new, forged in the fire of the last 30 minutes. "I've let you run my life for too long. That ends today." His mother's face went through a series of expressions: shock, fury, calculation, and finally, something that might have been fear. She'd lost control of him, and they both knew it. Without another word, she left. Jiho stood, Hana's hand in his, and faced Mary. "I owe you an apology that spans 11 years. I can't take back the past, but I can try to make the future different." Mary wiped her eyes. "I didn't come here for apologies. I came because Hana needed this. She needed to know you, to understand where she comes from. Whatever happens between us doesn't matter anymore. It matters to me." Jiho took a step closer. "You raised an incredible child alone while I played CEO. You tried to reach out and were blocked at every turn. You deserved so much better than what my family put you through." "I survived," Mary said simply. "We both did. More than survived. You thrived." He gestured at Hana. Look at her. She's confident, brave, smart. You did that. We can do the rest together, Hana interrupted, looking between them hopefully. Right? That's how families work. The question hung in the air. Jiho glanced at Mary, seeing the same uncertainty he felt reflected in her eyes. They weren't the same people they'd been 11 years ago. Too much time had passed, too much pain had accumulated. But Hana deserved a chance at having both parents in her life. We'll figure it out, Jiho promised. One day at a time. Outside the conference room, he could hear urgent voices, ringing phones, the machinery of crisis management grinding into gear. By tonight, this would be all over the news. By tomorrow, the board would be demanding answers. By next week, who knew what lawsuits or scandals would emerge? He didn't care. For the first time in his adult life, Jiho felt like he was making the right choice. Not the profitable one, not the dutiful one, but the right one. There's going to be a media circus, he warned Mary. Photographers, reporters, invasive questions. It could get ugly. We've handled worse, Mary replied. Haven't we, Hana? Hana nodded, squeezing Jiho's hand. Mom says I'm tougher than I look. I believe it. Jiho smiled at his daughter, his heart feeling too big for his chest. You flew across the world to confront a father you'd never met. That takes courage most adults don't have. I had to know, Hana said simply. If you were real. If the stories Mom told were true. If you'd want me. I want you, Jiho said fiercely. Never doubt that, Hana. I want you in my life. I want to know everything about you. I want to make up for every missed birthday, every school play, every moment I should have been there for. The conference room door opened again, but this time it was his assistant, looking frazzled. Sir, the press has somehow gotten wind of this. They're gathering outside. Security is asking how you want to handle it. Jiho looked at Mary and Hana. How do you two feel about a press conference? Mary's eyes widened. You want to go public? Right now? Why wait? The story's going to break anyway. Might as well control the narrative. He turned to his assistant. Set it up. 30 minutes. Main lobby. I'll make a statement. As his assistant scurried off to arrange things, Jiho felt a strange calm settle over him. This was it. The moment that would define the rest of his life. He could retreat, hide behind lawyers and PR statements, treat this like a problem to be managed. Or he could stand up in front of the world and claim his daughter. Are you sure about this? Mary asked. Once you do this, there's no going back. Your mother, the board, the shareholders, they'll all come after you. Let them. Jiho squeezed Hana's hand. I've wasted 11 years being afraid of what people think. I'm done with that. 30 minutes later, Jiho stood at a podium in the company's main lobby, cameras flashing like lightning. Mary and Hana stood beside him, visible to the world. His mother watched from the back of the room, her face carved from ice. Thank you all for coming on such short notice, Jiho began, his voice steady despite his racing heart. I have an announcement that's both personal and important. The woman standing beside me is Mary Chin. 11 years ago, we were in a relationship. When we parted ways, I was unaware that she was pregnant with my child. The room erupted in shouted questions. Jiho held up a hand. Due to circumstances I'm still uncovering, Mary's attempts to contact me about our daughter were blocked. I only learned of Hana's existence today. DNA testing confirms what anyone with eyes can see: she is my daughter. And I intend to be her father in every way that matters. More shouting, more flashing cameras. Jiho could see the stock ticker in the corner of his eye, already beginning to tumble. I know this raises questions about my judgment, my personal life, and my fitness to lead this company. To those concerns, I say this. I am not the same man I was 11 years ago. I've made mistakes, and I'm prepared to own them. But I will not make the mistake of abandoning my daughter. Not now, not ever. He looked down at Hana, whose small face was pinched with nervousness, but who stood tall beside him. This is Hana. She's 10 years old. She likes dance and science and apparently thinks kimchi is weird. That got a small laugh from the crowd. She's spent 8 months sending me emails I never received, trying to reach out to a father who seemed to ignore her. She deserves better than that. And I intend to give it to her. Jiho turned to face the cameras directly. To the board, the shareholders, and anyone else concerned about the company's future, I understand your worry. But I will not choose corporate image over my daughter. If you cannot accept that, then perhaps it's time for new leadership. This is my line in the sand. The press conference dissolved into chaos after that. But Jiho barely noticed. He was too focused on Hana's small smile, on the way Mary's shoulders finally relaxed, on the feeling that he was finally doing something right. Later that evening, after the worst of the storm had passed, Jiho sat with Hana in his office. Mary had gone to their hotel to rest, trusting him alone with their daughter for the first time. "Your office is huge," Hana observed, spinning in his desk chair. "Do you really need all this space just to work?" "Probably not," Jiho admitted. "I think it's supposed to impress people." "Does it work?" "Sometimes." He watched her spin, this small tornado of energy and curiosity. "Hana, can I ask you something?" She stopped spinning to look at him. "Okay. In all those emails you sent, what did you want to hear back from me?" Hana considered the question seriously. "I don't know. Maybe just that you remembered us. That we mattered to you, even if you couldn't be with us." She picked at the armrest of the chair. "Mom tried to hide it, but I knew she was sad sometimes. And I thought maybe if I could reach you, if I could make you see us, things would get better." Jiho's heart clenched. "You tried to save your mother." "I tried to save our family," Hana corrected. "Even if it was broken." "You're very wise for 10 years old." "Mom says I'm an old soul." Hana smiled slightly. "I think it just means I worry too much." "Well, you don't have to worry anymore. Not about this." Jiho moved closer, kneeling beside the chair. "I'm here now. And I'm not going anywhere. Promise?" "I promise, Hana. You're stuck with me." She launched herself at him again, and Jiho caught her, holding tight. Through the office windows, he could see Seoul spread out below them, lights twinkling in the darkness. Somewhere out there, his mother was plotting her next move. The board was preparing emergency meetings. His ex-fiancée was probably hiring lawyers. None of it mattered. Because he was holding his daughter, and for the first time in over a decade, Jiho felt like he was home. So what happens next? Will Jiho's mother try to strike back? Will the company survive the scandal? And most importantly, can this broken family find a way to heal? Drop your predictions in the comments below. And if this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe because you won't want to miss what comes next. And trust me, this is only the beginning of amazing stories. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.